Somewhere on the edge of your town there is a concrete box where people pay to make noise. And this week your name goes on the lease. The plan reads simple. Bolt a steel trap to the far wall, hang a row of target carriers, stock a glass counter, and rent the loudest room in the county by the hour. Now hold two strange facts side by side. Firearms are the most argued over product in American retail, and the federal license to deal them costs $200, good for 3 years. $200. Meanwhile, the most expensive machine in a gun range has nothing to do with guns. It moves air, and the reason it must exist is the same reason this business quietly ends careers. By the end of this video, you will know why the shooting is the least profitable thing that happens in a shooting range. You will know what the gray dust in the filters can do to an owner, and what it pays, at 60 to 80% of the metal's exchange price, when it is harvested instead. And you will know how a box of air, 1 meter on a side, can decide whether you stay open. If you want every business on Main Street weighed like this, one per video, subscribe. It is the one counter in this building where nothing costs a cent. Start with the ticket in. A small, serious indoor range, 2 lanes behind a gun shop, prices out between roughly $230,000 and $500,000 once the trap, the baffles, and the air handling are real. Scale up to the commercial, standard, 10 or more lanes plus a retail floor, and the numbers move into another tax bracket. The bullet trap alone runs $50,000 to $200,000 depending on the technology, the ventilation system from around $60,000 to beyond $500,000. And the specialty build-out, ballistic walls, safety ceilings, sound control, target systems, can carry a project into the millions. At the top of the market, the arithmetic is public. The largest indoor range operator in the country is putting about $27 million into its next 3 locations. $9 million a building, for a place that rents $25 hours. Now lay the paperwork next to the concrete. The federal firearms license costs $200, then $90 to renew every 3 years, which makes the permission the cheapest line on the entire invoice. And not one round has gone down range yet. Then the building takes its first breath, and the first hidden cost arrives with the electric bill. A range cannot simply recirculate its air the way an office does. The accepted design pulls fresh air past the shooters at 50 to 75 feet per minute, drags it through banks of filters, and throws it away. Every open hour, you are heating or cooling a small hurricane once, then exhausting it into the sky. One construction guide prices the electricity for that system alone at $1,500 to $3,000 a month. In a gun range, the air is on payroll before you are. The second hidden cost is the money plumbing. Card networks file firearms under high risk. The big consumer processors refuse the category outright, and the specialists who remain charge for the privilege, with online firearms transactions commonly running 3.5% to nearly 6% in fees. A decade ago, a federal initiative called Operation Chokepoint even leaned on banks to drop gun dealers outright. The third is insurance, which lives in a specialty market most carriers will not enter. The retail side alone commonly runs $6,500 to $17,000 a year before a single lane is covered. And the biggest cost of all is not a bill. It is a dust, measured in millionths of a gram, and it is waiting a few chapters ahead. So where does the money actually come from? Set the guns aside and look at a movie theater. The ticket is famously not the business, because the studios take the biggest slice of it. The theater lives on the walk to the seat, the popcorn and the soda, sold at margins the ticket never sees. A gun range is that, with a bullet trap where the screen should be. The lane fee, $15 at the discount end, $35 in the big cities, is the ticket. Its job is to walk a customer down one specific hallway, and the hallway is lined with glass cases. Follow one Saturday customer through it. She pays for an hour of lane time and rents a pistol because she is deciding what to buy, and rentals commonly run $10 to $25. House rules put house ammunition in every rented gun, so 2 boxes of range ammo land on the ticket at around a 25% margin. And the ear protection, the eye protection, and the paper target are small numbers with fat margins. Then she does what the whole building was designed for. She points into the case and buys the pistol. Here the receipt flips upside down. New firearms at typical advertised prices carry gross margins from the high single digits to the mid-teens, among the thinnest in the store. So on a $600 handgun the house keeps maybe $50 to $90, before a dime of its own costs. Industry-wide, the pattern holds. Firearms and ammunition make up at least 70% of retail revenue dollars, and they sit among the lowest margin categories on the shelf. The famous product is the doorway, not the destination, so say the thesis out loud. The lanes are the lobby and the gun case is the ticket booth. A shooting range is really a school with a supply store attached, built for people who just bought a machine they do not yet know how to use. It does not sell shooting. It sells everything a new gun owner does not know yet. Ralph, the receipt reads backwards. The smaller the number, the more of it you keep. Which brings us to the number the professionals actually manage, and it is not the price of an hour. It is the second visit. In 2020, 8.4 million Americans bought a firearm. For the first time, 4 of every 10 buyers that year. 2021 added 5.4 million more, and the industry's running tally of first-time owners since 2020 has passed 26 million. A first-time owner is a specific kind of customer. She owns the machine and none of the practice, and she knows it. That is why training is the highest margin service in the building. A classroom built once and sold seat by seat, and why smart ranges treat every rental as an audition for a class, and every class as an audition for a membership. The membership is where the model changes species. $30 a month is the going rate at the biggest chain for unlimited weekday shooting, and industry data has members visiting more often and spending 2 to 3 times more per year than walk-ins. Put 1,000 members on that plan, and $360,000 a year arrives on schedule. Full lanes or empty. The whole machine in one sentence. First-timers, times class seats, times memberships, times whatever the glass case adds on the way out. Lane fees rent the hour. Members buy the habit. Now pour a year through the place and watch what drains away. Payroll leads, because the law of the line is that someone qualified always watches it. Safety officers on the floor, instructors in the classroom, counter staff whose paperwork is not allowed to be wrong. Underneath it all, the air bill hums, then the quieter tolls. The high risk, card fees on every swipe, the specialty insurance, a retail shelf that ties up serious money and turns it slowly at thin margins. Even the ventilation filters cost twice. Once going in and once going out, because they leave the building carrying enough lead to be handled as regulated hazardous waste. What survives is decided by the service mix, not the lane count. Every dollar in this building leaves through a filter. And now, the dust. Every round fired indoors does 2 things nobody sees. The primer detonates a lead compound and breathes a puff of lead vapor back toward the firing line. And the bullet sheds microscopic lead as it tears down the lane and breaks against the trap. Run a busy range for a few seasons and the building is slowly filling with the most regulated metal in occupational law. The federal action level for airborne lead is 30 micrograms per cubic meter, averaged across a working day. 30 millionths of a gram, in a box of air 1 meter on each side. Cross that line, and monitoring, medical testing, and engineering controls all switch on, at your expense. Here is what that looks like in practice. The promise from the top of this video. A range near Seattle opened in 2005, and within about 2 months a worker's blood test came back high. State inspectors cited it across 4 separate inspections, and in 2008 wrote it up for 15 violations with a $42,400 fine. One state expert, calling it the worst indoor range the agency had investigated, possibly ever. The day after that fine, a federal security agency handed the same range a training contract worth about $205,000. That case anchored a Seattle Times investigation titled Loaded with Lead, which tallied almost $2 million in fines against American gun ranges over a decade. Then watched regulators bargain it down to less than half. Do not mistake soft enforcement for a soft problem. An Illinois range was reportedly fined $111,000 after inspectors measured airborne lead at up to 12 times the limit, and an Ohio gun business collected 23 citations and $61,200 in penalties from an investigation that began with one employee's blood test. That is the true shape of the risk. It does not arrive as a fine. It arrives as a phone call from a doctor, and the workers' compensation claims, the lawsuits, and the local headline with the word poisoned in it follow on their own schedule. Federal health agencies spend a decade documenting elevated blood lead in range workers, and sometimes in the customers. The most dangerous thing in a gun range has no trigger. Step back, because 2 facts refuse to fit together. This is a compliance minefield wrapped around thin retail margins, and yet the country runs roughly 11,000 commercial ranges, and by the industry's own count, more than 50 million Americans go target shooting. The resolution is scarcity. America holds, by every serious estimate, hundreds of millions of firearms, and almost nowhere inside a city where one can legally be fired. The backyard is banned, the woods got paved, and the machine in the nightstand still needs practice, which leaves exactly one address. A range does not really sell an experience. It sells permission, by the hour, in the only building in town, zoned to granite, and the dust closes its own loop. The same lead that summons inspectors is, chemically, inventory. Reclamation firms pay ranges 60 to 80% of the exchange price for the metal they mine out of traps and backstops, and clubs have reported clean-out checks of $40,000, even $100,000. It is the only store in America where the customers restock the mine, at retail, one squeeze at a time. So what does an owner actually clear? Two ways to play it. Way 1, the lanes only range. A landlord for noise. The hourly fees fight the air bill, the insurance, and the payroll to something close to a draw, which is why so many lanes only ranges are member clubs rather than businesses. Way 2, the integrated funnel. Lanes, counter, classroom, and membership desk under one roof. Published business plan benchmarks put an owner's take anywhere from well under $100,000 a year to several $100,000, and the spread is decided by the class calendar and the membership roll, almost never by the lane count. The building is the fixed cost, the funnel is the business. And who actually gets rich? Follow the biggest name. Range USA started as one Cincinnati range in 2012. By late 2025, it had crossed 50 locations across 14 states, hosted more than 1.4 million shooters in a year, trained 27,000 students, and quadrupled its membership count in 3 years. Its next 3 buildings carry that $27 million budget, a bet that memberships and glass cases, not lane fees, pay mortgages. And underneath the operators sits the quietest money in the industry, the reclamation and compliance firms that are paid to clean the ranges, and then split the harvested metal on top. In this gold rush, the shovel sellers do not just sell shovels, they mine the walls, and the walls refill every busy weekend. So lock the cases, kill the lights, and let the ventilation run its last lap of the day. The license was $200. Everything after it was steel, air, and patience. The shooting was never the product. A range sells permission by the hour, confidence by the class, and belonging by the month, while the dust in its filters keeps 2 ledgers at once, hazard on one page, harvest on the other. One rule, then, to walk out with. In a gun range, everything with a trigger is bait, and everything without one is the business. Which business belongs on the firing line next? Name your pick in the comment section, and subscribe before the next invoice lands.